Hi, welcome to Junk Jaw Reseller Podcast. My name's Jay, and I'm followed up with.
I got Ray,
And
and we
Kevin.
also got Jess.
Hey, Kenny. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Good.
Good. This is episode number 2. So,
Yep.
we got some things going on. So,
You,
how was your guys' week this week?
you want to go first, Kenny?
Yeah, sure. I'll go first. Uh, I'm gonna be honest with you. See, first off, my name's Kenny. I have a YouTube channel, Delmarva Deals. Yeah, I've been a reseller for most of my life. I've been doing eBay for the last few years. How my week's been, it's inconsistent. I don't know how everybody else feels about eBay, but it always every week feels like a new inconsistent week with eBay. It's hit and miss. It's there's that anxiety of like, you know, you send out 50 offers and hopefully all 50 are taken, and then you get you get your money in, and everything's happy go lucky. But my week's, it's been okay. It's been, I've had worse weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get it. It's kind of like a roller coaster. I mean, that's kind of what eBay is. It's up and down. When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's bad. And I mean, it seems like sometimes it. I don't know. I mean, they say that if you the more you put into it, the more you list, the better it's going to get. But sometimes I just feel like when I do that, then I'm just working for free for at least a week.
Yeah, because sometimes it seems like, I'll do the listing, but the listings don't catch up for a couple days before people see them. So it's like I know I'm listing good stuff, and then it takes this 72 hours before people are like, okay, it's time to buy. But yeah, my weeks have been doing a little bit better. I've been doing a little bit more listing myself, and selling a little bit more. So
Yeah,
yep.
yeah, I get it. I mean, it's it's kind of like one of those things. Like it takes a little bit for eBay to catch up with everything. I think by the time they put it over on the Google search engine, sometimes it takes a little bit for it to get over there. Or but it's weird because how many times have you guys had something that you listed and it just sells within like 5 minutes?
You beat me
Oh
to
yeah.
it. I was about to say, but at the exception of that oddball item, it seems like eBay catches it catches right then and there. But like you said, 99% of your items that you list, it takes a few days for you to even get views on it on some of those items.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it seems like happens to me. I mean, there are a few exceptions. Like when I do list something, it'll sell in like a couple minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else is like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then it makes me feel
I
like did I price it too low? And but I look at comps, and I priced it on the level, sometimes even a little higher, and for some reason it just sold instantaneously, and it gives me that worry of like, hey, did I list it too low? That's always the fear in my
that
head.
that worry for that is real because I listed in that micro machine car that it was a foreign one. It's like for it was a European collection one, and the American one it's just a police car and it said police on it. I went off the Google image search and that's what it brought up, and I just clicked okay, self similar, not realizing mine said Polizzi or something to that fact. And I listed it for $6 like the American one, and it sold within minutes. But it's and I had to look at it. I'm like, you know what, like this can't happen like that. And unfortunately, I don't ever do that. I mean, usually, it's that was just such a large difference. Usually, I 100% am going to honor that deal. I mean, luckily that the buyer was very understanding. It seemed like, I mean, he left a not a nice comment on my feedback, but he left it. He knew that the right thing to do is at least leave a positive feedback because that kind of stuff happens. I mean, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, that is
Yeah, I
absolutely.
had the same. I
Got
had
it.
the same. I had the same problem with Mew and Mewtwo cards, Pokemon cards, where it was, again, I listed them exactly where they were supposed to be at, and I had to keep looking at the, they sold within an hour, and I'm like, was there some inconsistency, and was there some error card or something, I didn't have knowledge about, and it just sold out of nowhere? No, it just happened to be. eBay's weird sometimes. I'll even see that, like, uh, sometimes you'll have something accidentally, you'll add 25% to the cost and it sells, but I have a problem selling a $6 video game, but yet I accidentally sell something 25% more than it was supposed to be listed for. So eBay is
Right.
it's a bag of hammers.
I don't know. You get those snipers. That's what it is. It's like these people sniping on there. I don't know how many times I had people that they'll message me, and like I have a guy that buys hats, like vintage hats, and now we have not yet been able to make a deal together where he'll buy a hat off me. He'll make offers, and we're just way too far apart. But yet he messages me constantly. He's like, "Hey, let me know if you have any vintage hats coming in," because he wants to get the first shot at it. Because other people have it um, on their watch list or their reminders set for searches. So as soon as it comes on there, like the minute it comes on there, you get a notification. He's like, "Look, I'm always busy working. I even if I get that notification, I'm not going to see it in time." So there's a lot of snipers out there that they don't care. Like if it's a good enough price, they're going to get it because they've been looking for that.
Well, then you got the thing like when you go around, like, say if you take Mario Kart for the Wii, for instance, the game sells for around $28-$30, but you go down the list and you look at the comp prices. It's like one sold for 42, one sold for 37, one sold for this, but there's like 500 listed at like $29.99. So you kind of wonder in your brain, how did that one, or why did that one sell for $10 above what that goes for?
Yeah,
Why?
that's why it makes me feel like sometimes it eBay themselves is inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, they have to be, and I know they. I feel like because for as long as I've been selling on eBay, when I first started out, I mean, I was selling a lot. I would have 20 sales a day, 20 sales a day, 20 sales a day, 20, and I kept it going. And then when I changed the way that I listed, or the frequency of or all the work that I put in it, I dropped down in my sales. So I think they can automatically kind of just
Yeah,
show
because
as much of the stuff that you have on it, they want.
I, I have a conspiracy theory in my head. I don't believe that it's a meritocracy. I don't believe like the more work you put in, or the better eBay reseller that you are, the more money you make. At least not always. I believe just mathematically, eBay has to spread the love to everybody, to basically, because what would happen is Bob over here could list everything undervalue 25% and beat everybody out in price. Then nobody else would sell anything if they didn't spread the love to everybody. So basically saying, even though Bob has the cheaper price, they're not going to show Bob's items 100% of the time, because they're going to show Frank and Shelly's and Mary's and Michael's item and try to help push their item too, because if not, you're going to lose them as sellers because they're never going to sell anything because Bob
We
can
yeah,
always beat that price.
we tested that theory. Don't you remember? We
Yeah.
all were together with and looked for the same item, and there was different search results for each one of us.
Yes.
So that just goes to prove and go to show that they hold things back and don't let other buyers see things
And they change
that
them church
the
results
other people
to
Mm-hmm.
rig,
do.
and to rig the game. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm assuming, it's a double-edged sword, right? It has its pros and cons, but it happens. Like you said, it happens. Them search results are not stationary. They're not static. They do change, within just different people searching for that same item. It's not the same search result.
I mean, there's a lot of things that go into that between the sponsored listings, but I completely understand what you're saying with the searches because I mean they're all jacked up. I mean, you can how many times do I search for if I'm looking for a specific player, say a Cal Ripken signed baseball card, right? I'll type in Cal Ripken Jr. signed baseball card, and yet it'll take the keywords Cal Ripken and baseball and literally show me a signed baseball. I wasn't looking for a baseball. I'm looking for a baseball card, but the baseballs are a baseball bat. That stuff's mixed in the results, which it never used to be.
Right.
And it makes it difficult to find exactly what you're looking for. And that's how Amazon functions too.
Well, not only that, it changes the way that you take a look at the sell-through ratios. Mm-hmm. It can, if you don't really look in really close, it can change the way you do your sell.
Yeah, that's another thing. The sell-through rate cannot. It's impossible for it to be truly correct when we look at it. Now, does eBay know the answer? Probably, but when we look at it, like you just said, signed baseball hats were thrown in the results with the signed baseball card. So, how many actual signed baseball cards were actually sold? You don't know. I'm pretty sure eBay does, but you don't know. The search results didn't show how many actual baseball cards that were signed were sold. So, you're not getting accurate results.
No. I mean,
so the pricing is going to be skewed,
Well, the most accurate result is probably going to be if you just scan the UPC. If an item has a UPC and you scan that, that's probably going to be the most accurate result you're going to find because it's going based off that number.
You would hope so, yeah.
I took say something like an NES game. I looked up. It was Dragon Ball. Not Dragon Ball. I'm sorry. Double Dragon 3. So you type in Double Dragon 3. It's going to give you every result for every Double Dragon game there is. I can't take away Double Dragon and put 3 there. So I've got all the search results for Double Dragon 1, 2, 3, every Double Dragon ever made.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you ever going to have an accurate, search result? How are you going to know what the actual sell-through rate is? You're not. It's almost impossible.
The likelihood of your buyer finding your item is the probability went down.
Yeah, it went down.
Yeah.
Unless you spot and push it up.
Yep.
Well, that's why I'm saying my theory is that eBay actually pushes, your item, they can artificially, give you a push. Almost, again, it's pros and cons, Again, Bob over here might always sell an item if they didn't do that, So, it's hard for us to, our position to say, they shouldn't do that. But if they didn't do that, there's a lot of people that wouldn't sell anything.
Well, here's a good question. In your guys' stores, how many of your items have 100% sell-through rate? In percentage.
Again, that's again, we just talked about skewed results. Anything we say is going to be our best guess, right? It just is.
Yeah, it's going to be your best guess.
Look, I just hit 6,000 items in my store. I don't think I have 100% sell-through rate on anything, or it just wouldn't be there already. It already sold.
Right.
Yeah, well, but that's a mathematical. That's a mathematical thing too. The 100% sell-through rate,
I think what I'm getting at is the 100% sell-through rate. I do have 100% sell-through rate items.
Yeah.
But tell me why does it take 3 weeks for that 100% sell-through rate item when it's to sell, when I put it on, when somebody whose price is higher than mine have already sold, there's a dozen of them sold.
Yeah.
So, it's when they want to show it.
Exactly. Yep. So I don't know the answer. But when I do look it up, I always try to like get the best sell-through rate as possible. If I had to take a guess, half of my store, because I keep a streamline. I always try to keep a light store, because I always like change over things. I'll take stuff off and just sell it somewhere else. And I just kind of I have fast turnover, regardless of wherever I sell the item. Not always on eBay. I'll sell it at a flea market.
I mean, maybe it isn't like each listing isn't completely visible to all the buyers, at once, or you're just waiting for that right buyer to come along and use those exact keywords that plug that in. I mean, and to me, it's in a way no different than. It's okay. For example, when I was at the flea market last weekend, Jay, I was there with you for a while, and this was late in the day. And how did I find video games, like all those video games, later in the day, when probably how many people went by that table? I mean,
Yeah, think about it. Yeah, that was late in the day too.
yeah. So sometimes things are just hidden just naturally, probably, or I don't know. Like it sometimes it makes no sense, because there's been plenty of times, whether it's on eBay or if it's on just in person, it's something could have been completely out there and you're just not seeing it. And depending on where you're looking or how you're looking for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. I mean, I guess sometimes, like when going around like me, I'll just go and like scan and do real quick scanning and stuff. But I probably should take my time and just visually look through every single thing too.
But I mean, maybe that's how they've kind of made it in this sense with eBay. Maybe using a certain keywords or specific words that might bring it up in searches is almost the same as if you're digging to the bottom of the box at a flea market or yard sale. Yeah. They're making us work for it.
They're making it work for it. Well, they want you to pay that extra money to bump it up in search results.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's ultimately, that's the main course of their action of all this.
Yeah.
But even then, you can't really trust it, because what if you're paying that? Because I don't promote items. I just don't. I don't spend the money. I feel that it's a waste. And I've promoted items, and I've had things that weren't promoted that sold faster. I've had things that had worse sell-through rates that sold faster. The things that I did promote didn't sell at all. So I don't even waste my time with the promoted listings, because they control what you see. Does it help?
Yep.
Maybe it helped some people. Maybe it helped some items. It didn't help me ever.
No,
I mean, never. I mean, and I tried it for years. I don't. I refuse to do it. I do other things to help sell my items faster.
I agree. I don't promote either. I mean, there's too many factors into reasoning why somebody may even buy your item.
Yeah.
It might be the shipping. Your pictures could be completely terrible compared to the other person. The condition. I mean, maybe there's just one small little nick on yours, but theirs is in mint condition. There's your price, your description. There's so many factors that I just rather have one-on-one competition. Like if they want mine, they're gonna buy it. That's at the end of the day.
And also, it's whatever eBay is going to show to people. So maybe it's not even like it doesn't matter how good you are. It all depends on whether eBay actually wants to show your item and push that item onto the seller, because again, Bob and Mike and it's Tammy's turn to sell something. It's not your turn, Ray. It's Tammy's turn. It's Frank's turn to sell something. So they push Tammy and Bob's and Frank's item and keeps yours in the shadows.
Didn't we let you sell 4
Get in
things
line,
yesterday?
Tammy.
Huh?
I said, get in line, Tammy.
Yeah, basically. Tammy can suck an egg, because I mean, I want to sell.
You guys.
I want to sell my copy of like Encarta 95 on CD-ROM.
Yeah. Everybody's looking for that. What time do you guys start your day? When you what time do you start doing your work?
What time do I get up in the morning, or what time do I actually like start listing?
Well, tell me about your morning. I mean, what do you wake up, you drink coffee, you just lay around, and then you're like, hey, 10 o'clock come around, time to do something. Or
I usually wake up on my satin sheets naked with air pressing against my face. As I dream about walking on the beaches next to Giselle Bunchkin and a picture of Tom Brady by her side. But in
that's
all
amazing.
reality, no. In all reality, you know, I wake up just like everybody else. I drink my coffee. I start usually I have a bag or two of items that I've already kind of pulled from the day before of like, okay, well, here's, the set, 15, 20, 30 items that I'm going to at least start with. And I get that, to clean up and then research and the list and kind of already have that set to go from the day before, 10 o'clock ish, give or take. And then I stop. Um, I'll either pull items for the next day or for the second half of the day, or I'll go through my listings that I've already listed. I've said before that I take, my 25 a day that I'll end and then sell similar. I'll change the price around, maybe, change the pictures around, but it's usually just drop the price to get the items moving. And I'll just end that listings, 25 listings, and then sell similar, and then go back to listing again. That's kind of like my routine. When I list, and sadly, I don't list every day. I try to list consistently, but as everybody, you list a couple days in a row, and then you take a couple days off from doing it and go out and buy other stuff, and I sell on other platforms. I also do the flea market. You know, um, but yeah, that's basically my day. And then around 4 or 5 o'clock, I'll stop, clean up, and sometimes pull more items for the next day. And that's kind of like how that routine goes.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Rick?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I try to get up at 5 a.m. I've been a little like I've been kind of slacking on that lately, I would say. So maybe around 6 or 7 as of lately, but I mean usually my goal is to get up at 5 a.m. Give myself about a half hour. Like I'll have my coffee or drink some water, and then I'll come downstairs in the basement, dive into usually either packing orders or maybe some listing. Usually, I end up having some listings from the night before. Like usually before I go to bed, I might take maybe pictures of 5 to 10 items, and sometimes I'll dive into that. Just depends on how I'm feeling in the morning. I mean, if I want to stand around and like pack stuff, I can pack stuff, or if I want to just sit there and enjoy my coffee, I can list stuff while I'm doing that at least. And then I'll probably go through, cross post some stuff, do some markdowns, inventory, like basically put stuff away, because I mean if I keep everything out here, I'm really bad at inventory and like putting the stuff away. So I really try to incorporate that as much as possible, especially if you're listing like 10, 20 items sometimes a day, then you have all this stuff that's just cluttering up the space. So and then if something sells, you want to know where it is. So I have like designated spots, and I'll put it like in a certain tote that's labeled whatever, and so all that takes time. A lot of people don't think about that, but that takes a lot of time in itself. And then I
Yeah.
just do whatever else.
Well, plus with
And there's
6,000
always
items,
yeah, it's hard to keep track of it.
Yeah, 6,000 items. I know. It's like,
Now for our viewers, most of that I would say 3,000 of them at least is cards, and they're all in binders. Nothing like crazy. Like I don't really have like high end cards. It's just when a lot of times, say if I'm really busy throughout the day, if I'm going to doctors or got something else to do, I like to take pictures of maybe a stack of 10, 20, 30 cards, and I can literally just list them really very, very easily while I'm sitting in the doctor's office or I'm out somewhere. I mean, if I'm like, say, if me and my wife are going somewhere for the day and she's driving, I'm usually sitting in the passenger seat and I'm able to list while she's driving, like, so I can still work. And it's just really quick, easy listings so I can consistently keep getting stuff up. But
Yeah,
that's why
that's
I have 6,000 items.
that's why I have 6,000 and that's okay to have 6,000 items. I only have as of now a little over 800. That's all.
Mm-hmm. So
You know?
how do you start your day, though, Jay?
Well, I as of late, my days are never the same, but maybe 3 out of 7 days, I'm up at ready to go at like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. Now, I used to wait, later on in the day to really get started, but when I usually do all my packing in the morning every time, every day. I usually wake up like 95% of my stuff that I sell goes out the next day, next morning. It always does. It's just what I do. And when I do list, I can list 20, 25 items in like an hour and a half. I'm pretty quick in listing. I'm really, really fast at it. So I could probably even do more. But then I just do listing, and I always get about and do other things. That's what brings us up into the next one. Like, what do you find the hardest thing about reselling? And to stay on my topic is the hardest thing I find is, since I'm working at the house and it's full time, I have a little spot in the basement that I do, but everything around me, the life, maybe there might be dishes in the sink, or I've always got other little chore things I got to take care of. Maybe go to the grocery store. Things are always on my mind since I'm always around where I work at. That's the hardest part about reselling to me, is living in where I work.
Yeah, I think it's hard to find a motivation sometimes. Just when you work for yourself, and there's so many distractions nowadays that, I mean, it could be something simple. Now, I use my phone to list, and 90% like of the work I do is all on my phone. So all it takes is me opening up my phone and seeing a notification on Facebook, and then I'm on Facebook. Somehow I got to the Facebook Reels, and I'm watching videos of who knows what. I mean, it's forever going, like it's on repeat like that. It takes one click, and how do I get to watching videos? And maybe I'm watching some other reseller picking stuff up, and I'm like, what is this? That I didn't. I'm supposed to be working, and it's like 30 videos scrolled later. I'm like, crap! An hour just went by.
Yeah, and you don't even realize it goes by so fast. It's like,
Yeah,
oh my gosh, I can't believe
it's
I'm watching.
difficult. That, or I'll get hooked into TV shows on Netflix or something, and
My worst thing
it's
is,
it.
I'm gonna be honest with you. My worst thing, what causes me when like throw a revolution, is it's not even so much as like before or after listing. I'll be in the middle of listing, and a phone call hit, or I get pulled away from it in the middle, and it almost kind of irritates me because I get on a roll, right? I get on like almost autopilot. Like James says, I can do 20, 25 listings within an hour, hour and a half, even like some difficult stuff, you know. But getting in the middle of it, getting yanked away by somebody else, calling and saying, "Hey, can you do this? Can you do that?" And that's almost probably more irritable than like getting pulled away before you even start. You know what I mean? So that's almost my irritation. That's a pet peeve of mine.
Well, it's so easy to get distracted from anything. I mean, somebody can call you, and you don't have time for a 15, 20, 30-minute conversation sometimes. And I'm a bad multitasker to begin with. So if you can ask my wife, I'm terrible at multitasking. I can't, most of the time, if somebody's talking to me, I can't do something else and listen to them, and my wife thinks I never listen to her because of this.
Hold on, I watched Ray. Listen. I'm gonna have to put him out there like this. Him and his wife showed up at the flea market one day, and we're talking. He was so interested in the other stuff, but his wife was trying to talk to him, and I just would watch. I watch Ray, and he had like this blank stare, and he kept then look up and then look at his phone and just pay more attention to it and look up, and he'd be like, yes. And I'm like, he didn't understand or listen to a word she said.
No,
He probably
it's
didn't
funny
know what was going
that
on.
it goes in one ear out the other. It never even made it in the ear.
I do. I actually, I'll tell you. I actually got a question for you guys. How many do you actually like? Do you ever take pictures of the items first and then make the listings of them after and then combine them, or do you take the pictures as you're making the listings and do it all at once? Because I don't know. Sometimes a lot of times actually, I'll take pictures of the item and then pack it away because I already kind of know what bin or what box it has to go in, and then put the item away and it's done. And then I have all these pictures in my phone, and I'll just go ahead and make the listings up later. Do any of you actually do that, or do you do it all at one time?
Well, most times I personally um, make the listing and then take the pictures. There's very few times where I'll take pictures and then make the listing of it. But
So you do it.
9.9 out of 10 times I make the listing and then take pictures.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm the only one that does it the backwards way. I don't know. Maybe it's just backwards compared to your guys' way. I just take pictures of like 10, 20 items, whatever, and then that way I can go sit upstairs or whatever, and I'll just list. Like I don't, and then I'll put the items away at another day. Like I think my thought process, if I leave it out that and I don't put it away, it's going to sell or something, and I don't have to go search.
Well,
But
I
I
kind
don't
of do
put
that,
that
but I
item
put the
away,
item away.
I
yeah,
have
I
to
don't
put
put
the
it
item
away.
away. I have to know where my stuff's at all times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it might take a week until I put something away.
There is no. I have to know.
Yeah,
I have to
I
know
like
My
this.
wife.
exactly.
What I can't stand is when my wife wants to get involved with doing. She don't do really eBay at all. But we used to have. She would make a couple listings up and then. All right, I'll put this. No, she don't put the SKU number on things. She'll put things in wrong bins. I cannot stand where I can't find something. It irritates me to no living end. So will you let me if you can't find something that you put away, will you dig through every single thing you have?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I will empty every single bin I got until I find that item. It irritates the hell out of me. Almost like an anxiety of like knowing that I'm gonna have to call this buyer up and tell them that I can't find that item. Well, I'm obviously not gonna tell them I can't find the item. I'm going to lie. I'm be honest with you. I'm gonna lie to the buyer and tell them, a storm happened and I lost the item or got damaged that way. I'm going to lie to you. If you buy something from me and I can't find that item, I'm going to lie to you and try to pull your heartstrings to get that item, so you don't leave negative feedback. I'm just trying to save my business. I never lose an item. One time, I think I where it was, and actually it was eBay's fault where they listed it a second time, and then that item sold for a second time, and I didn't relist it. They did it automatically somehow with a bug or something, and I lied to the person, the buyer, to tell them I can't send you this item because I don't have it. I think I told them the my house leaked and that the items got damaged and it got lost and flooded, and I came up with some story and they felt bad for me. Oh no, that's fine, and they actually left positive feedback. So you know, yeah, I'll lie to you.
I mean that does sound like the safer way to kind of say it, just because
Yeah,
they you kind of
because
get
I'm responsible. I'm not going to ruin my business for a $5, Yu-Gi-Oh card because some mishap, because some human error one time. I'm not going to ruin my business because of it.
I mean I might what I might do sometimes I think I might look at the buyers like feedback left the other sellers like to see their feedback left for others to kind of get a grasp on how I want to handle the situation. Because I mean, there have been plenty of times I have been completely honest, and this is completely true. Where I just say that I was moving stuff around, like I'm moving the location of all the items, and it just got misplaced. Like, sometimes I'm moving stuff from upstairs to all the way down here, or this part of the basement to another part of the basement, and I'm just so many boxes or totes and stuff gets moved around that I literally cannot find the item, and it's not in the spot that I labeled it as. And like I had last year, I had this guy buy a ticket stub off me, and I basically gave, but now this is where this went bad. I gave him that explanation, and I told him, hey, and usually if it's this case, if it's been a couple weeks and I still can't find it, then I start to feel bad because I now want 100% positive feedback, great experience for the customer. I told him that if I find it, I'll just ship it to you for free because it wasn't like a crazy high price item or anything. Like I'll take care of you and all, take care of the customer. And well, that gave this guy the reason to message me almost every other week. Did you
Yeah.
find it yet? Did you find
Oh
it yet?
no.
I would just
Hang
blame
on.
it on some imaginary woman that works for you. I've done
No,
that too, where like I've accidentally shipped out something I didn't realize that was like broken in a certain spot. I blamed it on an imaginary woman that works for me. I'm like, I got an employee. She, she took the pictures of this. She shouldn't have done it, and blamed it on that. And I've gotten away with it. So I just
no.
blame it on a woman.
This guy messaged me for like a month and a half, and and,
Wow.
and like it got to the
No,
point that he threatened me with negative feedback, and I'm like, I went out of my way for you. I looked for this thing, and I did spend a lot of
you
time
got it
looking
right
for it.
there. As soon as they
You
threaten
know?
you,
Oh yeah, but at the same time, he I don't know, he just kept arguing with me about it, trying to like make me feel bad. I'm like, I literally looked, and he threatened me with negative feedback, and then it got to this point where I persuaded him that he would leave positive feedback if possible, and he's like he never even left feedback then. And 2 weeks later, after that whole incident, I find the ticket stub.
Yeah, that's something.
I will,
Yep.
but see, I will always make it right with the customer. Like they'll never be out of money. Like I just don't want the negative feedback, right? Like I don't care about the $6, right? I really don't. I just don't want the negative feedback. So I'll make it right with the customer. I, as long as they don't
So,
leave negative feedback, I'm good, right? Like I don't care about anything else. I don't care about the cash. I care about the feedback,
But
well,
like,
let me
because
ask
the
you a
feedback
question
yeah,
then.
affects your business. The more feedback, negative
Yeah.
feedback you have, the less items you sell.
but that's
So
what eBay does. They like tie your hands like that. You're tied, and you have no choice to do
yeah.
that in this type of business.
Well, what do you do when you put in? You say, do you put in that buyer asked to cancel order?
Oh yeah. Yeah. You know how you got the four like item was damaged, item you just couldn't find the item, or something else. I always put the buyer wanted to cancel because that's the less damage to oneself.
Well,
When
I
you
get
put
them.
that,
I get them to say. I get them
Yeah,
to say
well, that
because what I
too.
do is I say, can I can I give you something and replace this, or would you like me to cancel the item? And they
Mm,
always say, I'd like to cancel the item, and that's where I can get
yeah.
get
yep.
away with
They
doing
said the
that.
word. Please
But
cancel.
honestly, even if I didn't, I would still put it. To be honest with you,
You
I would still put that the buyer asked to cancel it.
you
I'm
do
not gonna
have to
hurt
watch.
again. I'm not gonna hurt my business over like uh something a cheap $5 item. I'm just not gonna do it. I'm going to lie. I'm sorry. I
But
am. I know that sounds bad for a business to say, but I'm going to be honest with you that I'm going to lie about it. I'm going to say you asked to cancel it, especially if it was something stupid, right? Like, I mean, if it was clearly my fault, like I said, I'm always going to make sure monetarily the customer is taken care of. I just don't want the negative feedback. That's the only thing I care about. As long as the buyer says I'm not going to give you negative feedback, I'm going to give you a refund, and I'm just going to, move along.
I mean, you just have to watch it though, because I have seen sellers that say that reasoning of the buyer has to cancel, but a lot of people don't realize they confirm that with the buyer at some point. I don't think it's on all listings or something, but I've seen that where, and then they got in trouble or the buyer at least seen that and reported them or something to that fact, and so then eBay confronted the seller about it, and was like, "Hey, you lied."
Well, it's better than saying you couldn't keep track of your items,
Yeah.
right?
Well, at that point,
so
I guess you
so
could.
which one, you pick your poison at that point, you know what I mean? I'd rather ask for forgiveness than permission.
Yeah, like I said, you could just tell eBay, "Oh, I'm sorry, I hit the wrong button. I meant to hit." You know,
Exactly.
Yeah, it was an accident.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
buyers are what keeps us alive, what keeps our business going. But what are some pet peeves about buyers that you guys have that you just can't stand? I'll go last. I mean, I have one that really, really irritates me when a buyer asks me certain things, and I'll share that with you guys.
I think a lot of questions. Once it gets to be too much work, I get really annoyed. Especially if just once if it involves like pictures, like, "Hey, can I have more pictures?" Then on top of it, then you come back and like, "What's the dimensions?" And sometimes they're not even reading in the description. Sometimes they are, and it's just not there. Like, I forgot, so that's okay. But to the point, if I have 5 or 6 messages from somebody, and I've gone back and forth that many like times, and it's only, especially if it's a low end cheaper item, I I'm done. Like,
Yeah.
you kind of have to set a limit. Now last week I had some guy that bought 2 Micro Machine cars for $250 each, and so that was $500 total. He asked a lot of questions. I went through 3 days working with this guy, and the only reason I let it go that long because it was $500. No
Mm.
one else
I don't
chance.
blame you. Yeah.
Yep.
I got two of them real quick. They kind of go hand in hand though. The first one is again, it could be any kind of item, but you'll have the buyer before they buy it, you know, ask a dumb question of like, you can clearly see that. Just say it's a game, and you can see the back of the disc, and it's perfect, right? Oh, does this thing have any scratches or not working? When it clearly says in the title, it's tested working, and you can see in the pictures that it's perfectly doesn't have any scratches, right? And it almost feels like they're setting it up for unjust return, right? And then the second part to that is when you send out that perfect item and you know it's perfect, you know it was great, you tested it, or the item was in perfect condition, and then they think, "Oh, shame on you, seller! You sent me an item that was damaged and it's this and that," when you clearly know it wasn't, and you know for a fact that they're lying, and you wish you could hook them up to a machine and prove that they're lying, but you kind of can't. And I think it's my pet peeve of like that disingenuousness of you just trying to get over on me. And basically, even sometimes they'll even ask you for like a partial refund, or to send a refund before they even tell me what's wrong with the item. That's a pet peeve of like that disingenuous seller. I mean that buyer, a
Especially
disingenuous
if they
buyer.
refuse to.
You know that's a liar.
Yep. Especially if
It's
they refuse to give you.
irritable.
Yeah.
It makes me want to
That's
throw them off a cliff. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
I
Hey,
want to
well,
know.
you kind of
No,
touched on.
it's true, right? Look, because I know because I sold that $6.50 Zerg Buzz Lightyear figure that I sold you. It didn't have a crack on the bottom, and the batteries worked in it just fine. And then you're telling me that it came with a half an arm missing. I know
Right.
you're lying, right? Like I know you're a
Yeah.
liar.
And they do that too. It's like,
And they do that, and they're trying to get that money back.
yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
Well, you touched on my pet peeve. I hate when I'm selling an $8 game or a $9 game, and there's like, and they'll type in, "Hi, I'm a major collector, and is there any scratches on this disc at all?" Now listen, that's
Yeah.
there could be
Yeah,
a small scratch that I don't see, because sometimes that's subjective. Because
It
there
is.
could be small scratches, like there could be a scratch. I don't know. Yeah, and please look at the picture if I had it on there.
you're trying to
And
poison the tree.
yeah, that's, and you know what I do? I automatically block them,
Hmm.
because I have learned enough that the people who's going to send that game back are the people that ask those questions.
Yep. That,
Yeah.
I,
I mean,
I do.
yeah. It
that's
goes.
why that's my pet peeve right there. That because that kind of goes in hand, because I've sold it to them people, and then what happens is they'll say that that item was damaged somehow when it wasn't, and they'll lie just to get that $5. It's insane.
I mean, it's definitely like sometimes the wording of the question the buyer has. I mean, they do that even when I sell clothing. Like, does it have any tears or stains or that kind of stuff? And I just say, item is exactly as pictured. You know, please see photos for the best view of condition. If there is any imperfections, we state it. That's all I can say.
Right,
But
right.
I will say, to the first time ever, I got the luckiest thing from eBay. It happened yesterday or the day before. I'll tell the story real quick. Uh, I sold a pair of OG Retro One high top Nike Air Jordans, right? Um, and they were pre-owned, marked pre-owned. I told all the flaws, wears and all the little issues with it, right? And if something's over $100, you got to send it to the authenticator. So they give you a FedEx label. You send it out. Usually it takes 10 days or so. And what happened was I got a message the other day from the authenticator saying, "Oh, you said that these shoes were brand new. They're not brand new. These are used. So we can't authenticate them. And P.S. They're B grade. So they're sending the things back, right? So I call eBay like, look, you guys done messed up the sale. I didn't mark that these were new. I clearly said pre-owned. I clearly said all the problems with it, blah blah blah. And the lady was like, "Oh yeah, I do see that there. Where they're sending the shoes back, and you're gonna be able to list these shoes again. And for the trouble, we're gonna actually refund you half the money." So I got a free $85 off that sale. So basically, I had to give the money back, but then they gave me $85 for just the trouble of the authenticator making a mistake. So
Wow.
basically, I still get the shoes and I get a free $85 from eBay.
Oh,
It
lovely.
is the
That
luckiest thing I've ever got in my life from eBay.
I mean, that is one good thing that I feel like their outsourced programs that they have like that, like the stuff that they don't necessarily feel like doing themselves, that they have these other companies to do that, whether it's that or the global shipping. You're really covered in a lot of ways that I feel it's very beneficial to both the sellers and buyers. I mean, I couldn't imagine shipping something really expensive out to another country and having to worry each step how many hands it's going through, what's going to happen each way. Now the fact that we can just ship it to the the hubs and everything, global shipping hubs or international shipping hubs, that once it gets there, we're covered. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah, I like that one. I like that when it's like that.
I wasn't expecting that. I was an unexpected little gift.
I, yeah, I never would have expected it with that. So that's kind of good to know that
Yeah,
because it sounds like a lot of hassle dealing with the authentication with that kind of stuff, because
Well,
Like,
I've
oh,
done
it's got to go.
authentication before. I've sent out shoes. I'm not a shoe seller, but I have sold enough shoes. And the authenticator, you send them out, they send it to the buyer, and almost always, even if they wanted to return the shoes, they better have a really good reason to return those shoes because they're authenticated, and they're getting cleared by eBay saying that these shoes are in you know the exact condition that you said they were in. So it's basically that major company saying these shoes are ready to go. You bought what they told you that you were selling. So that I actually like it. You know, I wish they could do it with more things. To be honest with you,
Now, does anybody knows that, like, do they hold it against you if you accidentally sold something that was fake and because you just didn't know?
what the authenticator? No, no,
Yes.
no, 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 no. The authenticator would just say we deem these shoes not real, they're counterfeit, and cancel the sale. Now I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure if you did it 1,000 times in a row, yes. But even in their little policy bylaws that I read, um, they don't really hold it against you because, again, that's why you're sending them to the authenticator because you're not an
But
authenticator.
because if this sale went bad, does that mean you could still there's a possibility you would still get negative feedback then?
What if they authenticate them as being true, as being
As
real,
fake?
and then they
No, if
They're
they're
fake.
no, 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 because the money gets held, right? It basically goes into like hold, basically, sorta, kinda, and it goes to the authenticator, and then it gets processed through them, and then if they
yeah, but
come out to be counterfeit, they send them back to you.
yeah, but the buyer still made a purchase and it's not fulfilled. So that's what I'm thinking is that couldn't the buyer still leave a negative feedback if the sale
I,
is canceled?
I mean, I assume they could, just like with anything else, right? Like, yeah, I'm certainly
That
can, but I mean, eBay's not going to hold it against you, right? Like, they're
yeah,
not they're not going to put like a knock on your account for trying to sell counterfeit shoes because that's why they have
yeah,
an authenticator because they know you're not an authenticator, right?
yeah.
But yeah, the
That's
buyer, I'm assuming, I mean, anybody
that's
watching
the
this
risk.
now, I would check in for your own self. I would ask
Yeah,
eBay whether the buyer can actually do it, but I'm assuming
yeah.
that they could.
If anybody knows for sure, leave some info in the comments so we can
Yeah,
know because
yeah.
that's something. I mean, we're not all professionals and completely. I'm not a shoe seller whatsoever. Like usually it's like 50, $60 for my pairs of shoes.
And we
Uh,
don't know everything, right?
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
anybody knows, help us out.
Yes. Well, on to the next thing. We know about what we do in our daily reselling day, but when you're done reselling, what are you guys up to? You guys got hobbies? What are you doing? What do you like to visit things? You hang out? What is it you like to do?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm on
For,
I get on little kicks, right? Little binges of things I do, And one of the things I've been watching is on YouTube. They have recaps, of animes. Somebody speak in their own voice, or they'll use like a mechanical voice, and they'll basically explain the entire series or movie of an anime, and uh and they'll basically put it in their own little spin. And I've been hooked on them, kind of like binge watching, episodes of anime recaps of different anime shows. That's kind of been on my radar right now. That and the Fallout series on Amazon.
Hmm.
yeah, Fallout is really good. I
Yeah, I got a couple more left. I haven't been watched all of them. I've been trying to hold it back because I don't want to go buy it, through it too fast.
I mean, I barely played the game, and like I think I just
I
played
love the
it for like
game.
an hour. I played for an hour just to understand it, so I can watch the show.
Well, you don't.
But
I gotta be honest with you. You didn't have to play the game to watch the show because the show. Not saying it's
yeah,
100%, like it or not like it, but it. I mean, you just don't have to play the game to watch it. It's just a
Yeah.
good like dystopian future TV show,
Yeah. I mean, I just wanted for I think some insight on it, but
Oh, okay, yeah, like little Easter egg things, right?
yeah. I mean, just like I watch all the Marvel movies, so I constantly that's one of my things. I guess I do my off time when I'm not working, but
Like
I always
Robert
watch
Downey
them.
Jr. playing Doctor Doom.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. It's
I'm not.
definitely
Don't
wild.
even get me on that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What were you? What's your thing after listing all day? I'm sorry. I shouldn't have went into that.
No, 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 you're
That was
good.
a
No,
little.
that's
That was a little. That hit me a little bit when I seen that. It hurt. It hurts. It hurts.
it
It
hurts.
hurts the brain.
No, it's gonna make things a little confusing, I think, ultimately, but we'll just leave it at
It's
that. But
dumb.
it's still
It's dumb.
it's
It's
no,
dumb.
it's still in the
Why get
comics.
somebody else? Because Doctor Doom, he was a beloved character. He's a beloved Marvel character anyway. I get that Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah,
is famous and people like him, but all you're going to do is make it convoluted. I get it if you were just making like a what if one off movie or episode or something like that. Just get somebody else to play Doctor Doom. Don't try to reuse characters, like Deadpool did with Chris Evans. In the new Deadpool movie, you think he's going to be Captain America, but he's replaying Johnny Torch, the
yeah,
Human Torch,
but that was the fun of it.
and
That
that was a
was
fun. But it was funny, right? It was meant to be funny, right?
yeah,
As a joke. It's not going to be
but
a long term thing, right?
the
It's just
the the
not.
full it's the full circle of it though is
Yeah.
going to be Doctor Doom turning. He's going to eventually become Iron Man.
What
So
they're going off, what they're
Iron Man,
going off of, because there was comics in
that,
Robert, in another Earth, not the 616 universe, but Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man became Doctor Doom in one of the series of comics, but it didn't last long, right? It was a one off and it was done, right? Nobody
yeah,
cares. Just find somebody else to play Doctor Doom, right? Like
it's just the full circle. I mean, I think that's fine. Like, I mean, it's not going to be
it's a
too crazy.
tchotchke. It's a
Uh,
tchotchke. It's a cliche. Stop trying to use a popular person to fill the shoes of somebody. You just go find somebody else to do it.
yeah, I think we just lost anybody that was listening. If anybody's listening to this, all this nerd talk, they're probably like, "Oh, I don't understand any of
We'll
this."
just get
Sorry, I
Samuel.
know. Yeah, sorry.
No, it's my fault too because I'm getting into it with you.
But yeah, like I said, I like anime recaps and I like the Fallout. That's what I do after reselling. And I get
So
angry about nerdy things. Your turn, Ray.
I do watch, like I said, I do watch a lot of Marvel. So I watch pretty much every single Marvel series or movie that comes out. Um, but getting ready to be football season, so every Sunday I watch the Ravens games. I pretty much every day that my wife has off are usually I try to make that almost like my days off, or I at least have like half the day off. So maybe we might just do something like we'll either watch movies or we'll go for like a day trip somewhere. We recently went to DC just for the day. We spent the whole day down there. So we like doing different stuff like that, and I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I binge watch TV too, like on Netflix. That gets me in trouble, so I try. I don't want to do that, but it's a distraction. So, but I do it anyway. What about you, Jay?
I'm with you. Yeah, every day my wife's off. It's my day off too. Um, but I do like a lot of times I go to church on Sundays. Like in the morning times on Sunday mornings, I go and feed the homeless, and then I go do like prayers service on Thursday nights. I do Bible study on Wednesday nights. You know, I read. Just do a little bit more faith based stuff now than I
Mm-hmm.
used to. I really don't go out too much. I mean, I do watch some television, hang out with my wife, and I'm off with her days off. But I really don't do too much. I just go to church,
Yeah, that's
do
good though.
church things. Yep.
Yep.
No, that's my reselling and church thing.
Hey,
That's all good though. I mean,
that-
it is what it is.
yeah. I think I want a new hobby though. That's my thing. I want
I think
like
I think I'm gonna join a nudist colony
oh
and
my
just kind of
god.
like see how it goes, right?
Yeah.
Swing low, sweet chariot. You know what I mean?
Hey, I mean, if you just go to another country and you can do that, and maybe you'll end up on National Geographic cover.
But I
Yeah.
would, I'll be honest with you, I would love to be like, yeah, National Geographic, like, whoo, whoo, whoo. But I would love to go to the beach before the summer's over, though. To be honest with you,
Yeah, I've been wanting to too.
because
I keep.
I've noticed I've been selling every little like on eBay. I've been selling all my little end of summer items. Like I've sold some swim fins. I had like a snorkel thing that I sold. A couple of the other pool toys, like not pool toys. They were toys, but you could use them in the pool. They were floatable devices for kids. I sold them. So I think everybody has the same idea, you know. Uh,
Are you want the things that go on their arms? Like I don't know. When I was younger,
no,
we called them.
no, no. It was a weird like it was like some Chinese made ducky thing. It was like a
Oh, okay.
pair of them, and it was like you could set other toys in it. I don't. I gotta be clear. Honestly, I don't even know really what they were. There was some weird Chinese made thing I sold. But I've been noticing I've sold out of all my summer stuff. You know.
You know that's great though because I feel like this time of year, I don't know why in the month of August I always have issues with my sales a little bit because everybody's last minute going on their vacation before school starts back up. And so if you can find something that's more relatable to what people need for this time of year, that it's very small period. It's a very small period to sell that kind of stuff, you
Yeah.
know. But when people really really need it, and so that's great.
And
Like
that's
I
kind
wish
of
I had
crazy.
a whole bunch of book
Summer's almost
bags.
over.
Hmm.
Summer is almost over.
I
Yeah.
know it. Yep.
Fall's my favorite time of year, though. I like fall. You know.
Fall.
Yeah, I don't mind fall.
I like when it's cooler out and it's not so hot.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
90s.
I wish I had a
Yeah.
bunch of book bags to list on eBay right now. It'd probably be a perfect time. You know,
Oh yeah.
No,
back
that's
to
definitely
school.
it's a bolo this time of year. Definitely.
Yeah.
I always look out for that. I think book bags, just in general, they're good to have to sell because, regardless, I think so many people use book bags. It's funny because how many people I see that just work somewhere, like whether it's in an office or somewhere now. I mean, I see them all. My dad uses one. He uses a backpack every single day to take his lunch and a couple other things he needs for work. And a lot of people don't think about that, but their book bags are utilized. I feel like more than ever. I mean, guys
I,
don't carry purses, so that is
you,
like a man purse.
Yeah.
you said bolo, right? I got a little bolo actually. The left joystick Joy-Con. I know Switch stuff sells, you know, good anyway. But for some reason, the left Joy-Con of a Switch console, they sell,
Well,
you know, even a used beat up one sells for like $25. I looked
you
into it.
know the reason?
Apparently, the left one is always the one that goes bad for
Yes.
some reason.
Hmm.
The left one is always the one that has drift.
Yep.
Huh.
So
That's,
they always seem to sell, and even a beat up one like goes for like $25. And I have to have a left one. That's why, you know, I was just going through my Switch stuff today. The list.
mhm.
I also got a Zelda, Legend of Zelda Joy-Con holder to turn your thing into like a controller, right? But it's made by Nintendo and it has the Zelda symbol, you know, Breath of the Wild symbol in it, but I can't find it nowhere, right? I even Google Lensed it. It looks like some weird special edition one. I set it to the side because I'm gonna do a little bit more research. I can't find it nowhere. I Google Lensed it, eBay Lensed it. It's some weird, you know, Zelda controller, you know, Joy-Con holder. made by Nintendo. Hopefully I hit a little, hit a nice little score, but you
What do
know,
you say? Does it hold the Joy Cons?
it holds the Joy Cons. Yeah, it's the one you slip the Joy Cons in that turn it into a controller. You know what I mean? You take the Joy Cons and you slide them in on both sides, and then in the middle
Yeah.
of it is like the graphic, the Zelda graphic. And it has a special coating on the back of it. It's not like a run of the mill one either.
Is it
So
made by Nintendo?
I gotta do a little bit more research on it. Um,
Is it made by Nintendo?
it's made by Nintendo. It's first party. And then I got a pair of Hori HORI, third party Joy-Con ones that go on the side of the the
Yeah,
the Switch. Third
they're about
party ones.
$30.
They're like $30, right? Like
Yeah.
for third party ones. I got a bag of I got $100 some worth of like Switch stuff. I didn't even realize. I thought it was low dollar. So
Yeah,
I
like
got it.
I said, I was like, yeah, those things are like $30. I was like,
Yeah, I had it just laying around. I was listing stuff today and found them. Well, technically I
I
found
got a
them last
couple
night, but I was gonna
sets of
list
them.
them today. And by the way, if anybody want to buy anything, I'm on ebay.com/KWM Smushy on eBay. So if you want to buy anything,
Look at that
that's where
plug.
you can find me. You know, selfless plug here. You know what I mean?
Jay, we'll have to put all our links honestly on this video down there if anybody wants to check us out on
Yeah.
Instagram by the end of it. But I wanted
Or
to say,
youtube.com/Delmarva Deals. But
yeah,
first, you got to go to Junk Jaw. You got to go to Junk Jaw or Reseller Podcast as well. Leave a comment, hit the like, subscribe. James is,
um,
doing it right, man.
yeah. Hey, did anybody else experience one of the glitches yesterday on eBay, where if you're sending out offers, it shows up as the dollar amount is zero, no matter what percentage you would put in. If you did 5, 10, 15, 20% off, it would, yeah, it's like if when you did it in bulk, it would
No,
show.
I don't use the bulk.
$0.
I don't use percentage. I always like change the actual dollar amount and send it out
Yeah,
that
because
way anyway.
I had that issue yesterday and it scared the crap out of me. Like eBay was trying to give my stuff away for free.
Yeah, he showed me other messages like $0. Like, yeah.
Oh my god!
Oh
But
no.
yeah, I didn't tell you. So later in the day, I was I don't know. I guess it just kind of popped up on my feed. But Rockstar Flipper put out a video saying there was 3 eBay glitches going on, and that was one of them. He explained, and so at least now I feel like I'm not the only one that has had this issue. It's other people, but he said that no one has had any sales for $0.
Yeah.
So it must be just a display issue that it's just
Yeah,
showing
hopefully
up.
it's just null and void anyway. You'd get away with it where you wouldn't have to sell that item.
Rockstar Flipper and I, we have a past together.
Oh, is
Oh,
it good,
oh.
bad?
Well, Kenny might know the story, but I was on well, it's X now, but it was Twitter, and I was like, I'm going to do Twitter, and I was following Gary V, and then and I started getting a nice little Twitter following, and old Rockstar came in. He didn't like what I had to say, and he started running his mouth about things, and then me and him got in a back and forth, argument and debate. He really started. He started it. He started everything.
He's a
So I
little
mean,
whiner baby anyway.
yeah, I mean, I'll watch his stuff. Don't get me wrong, but he did
Yeah,
start a bunch
I
of
just
crap with me.
normally watch him, but it popped up, and I was like, well, I'm experiencing a glitch right now, so I'm going to see if it's listed on there. But he is usually has like updated news. I think that a lot of people aren't really doing like reseller news.
I got a beef
Like,
with him anyway, because look, I got an issue with him because whatever happened about Daily Refinement? What's his face? What's his name from Daily Refinement?
Chris,
Chris from Daily Refinement. I remember what was it, about 6 months ago, Rockstar Flipper came out and was like, yeah, something real big about him screwing over his customers, and I'm pretty sure the FBI and criminal activity, and this person left, and they're giving us all the scoop. I got all this criminal activity that he's doing. Well, whatever happened? Why isn't Chris in jail? If he was doing all this criminal activity, shouldn't he be in prison right now? I mean, I gotta be honest with you. Daily Refinement could have sued him for defamation of character, to be honest with you, for slander. I mean, he was, he sincerely came out and was putting down Chris from Daily Refinement really bad. So, Rockstar Flipper, I take him with a grain of salt at this point.
I mean,
just because of that issue right there.
There's always drama within this community. There's always gonna be drama because everybody's doing stuff differently. Not everybody's gonna agree with the way that each person is reselling or doing this, and so I mean, at the end of the day, like, people might actually hate us, Jay.
Yeah,
I'm sure of it.
Podcast.
That's fine,
but it is what it
I'm
is.
Not gonna, but I'm not gonna try to defame somebody just because I don't like it, right? Because he came out and he defamed that guy, right? Like, regardless of whether I like Daily Refinement or Chris from Daily Refinement or not, he shouldn't have done it to anybody, unless if he had that kind of information, he should have, and it was that bad, he should have went directly to the FBI or law enforcement and had it dealt with that way, and started, he was literally saying that this guy was a criminal and he was doing criminal activity. Well, if that's true, then, you're basically blackmailing him with information, because he was like, well, you better get in contact with me because I have this information. And he was almost blackmailing Chris to actually, contact him. So, I kind of lost a lot of respect for that guy. I didn't have much for him anyway, because he almost seems like a little rat. So, but whatever little respect I did have for Rockstar Flipper is gone after that. Because nothing happened. Nothing came of it, right? Like, it just...
I'm not taking up for him, but any kind of drama or anything that's going on with anybody's personal lives, when you got, as a reseller community, we're putting our lives out there and showing everybody what it's like or what we do, who we are. And, at any moment, people are just going to say something about somebody else, or it's...
No, yeah, true. I agree with you, but it wasn't drama. I mean, he was literally saying that this guy was doing criminal activity, and he was like criminally screwing over his customers, defrauding his customers. So that made... So what if I actually took this guy at face value and were like, oh, I can't do any business with Chris from Daily Refinement because Rockstar Flipper said he's a criminal. You know what I mean? If I was Chris from Daily Refinement, I would have sued that guy for hurting my business, or at least attempting to hurt my business, especially if it wasn't true, So it wasn't just like run-of-the-mill drama, this person's dating this person,
Like I said, I don't know the full situation to really have paid any attention to any of it.
Yeah, you should look it up if you get a chance. And anybody watching this, get a chance, look it up about Rockstar Flipper. I wonder if he kept them videos up on his channel or not. I'm curious.
Like I said, I don't follow either of them, so I just try to stay away from it. I mean, if they want to have beef, they can have beef.
I'm saying I just thought it was kind of funny because Jay brought up Rockstar Flipper about how he had an issue. He didn't like what James was saying on Twitter, and he had to put his 2 cents in on it.
Yeah, just in general, I know now. Don't get me wrong, I do like the Facebook group that I'm part of on there. A lot of times can be helpful, but I feel like there's a lot of criticism just alone in that Facebook group that he runs. So I don't necessarily like posting in there because I feel like immediately I'm criticized in like 10, 20, 30 different ways. And I'm just trying to look for answers to help myself or better, reselling, or just seeing if anybody else is having issues or, different things like that sometimes. And there's always, I mean, there's always keyboard warriors anywhere you go, but it just feel like I get it all the time on that particular group.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I don't post there anymore.
I don't really go to too many people's groups. I just don't like.
I mean, it's good to learn, like, because there's a lot of things that you can see, like whether it is an issue, like one of these glitches, or I mean, maybe something like some news that's coming out, like whether like when Macari dropped their seller fees and that kind of stuff. Like, there's more info on it. People like to elaborate and dig deeper through the terms and conditions of the updates of policies and all. I don't have the time to sit there and read. People just break it down like, hey, this is changing. That's it.
Yeah, I like that. I like to catch that quick blurbs of news, so I ain't got to sit there and read every single piece of news myself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was just looking to see if I guess I read dots for the record button, right?
Yep.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Like, all right, I was just seeing how long we were going for.
We've been an hour and 15 minutes in.
Yeah.
I guess we're coming. I know we're coming close to the end.
No,
here.
I'm not trying to rush it. I was having to enjoy the conversation. You know what I mean? Because
I mean,
to add on to what you guys were saying, one of my favorite things is one of my early morning things that I didn't bring up is I don't laugh because I use Bing, but when I go online and I look at Bing News and I just look at the blurbs, you know I love you, Bill Gates. Please don't attack me.
Oh, he's coming after you now, bud.
But even though Bing News is a joke, right? But I just look at the little blurbs of things that are going on in the world, and that's it makes me feel good that I know that the world didn't blow up, just by them short little headlines,
Well, you woke up.
I woke up,
Yeah, woke up.
I woke up and I didn't do any criminal activity like daily refinement.
Oh, come on. I'm not slandering. See, now you're slandering people.
No, that's parody. I'm allowed to do that. Chris from Daily Refinement, we love you. He is. I will say that guy does big stuff. You know what I mean?
I like Chris.
He makes that money.
Maybe the #1 reseller. Maybe on YouTube.
Probably, yeah.
That I know of.
I thought Tekken was.
Oh no, Tekken's out of. He's about out of the business.
Yeah, well, he's on a downward trend anyway.
Yeah, he'll be out next month or 2 months. He's done with his lease on his warehouse. The only thing he's keeping is his store.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I don't have a problem with Tekken Sports. He's all right, and he'll do better than I'll ever do in my entire life, right? But I will say, like, his YouTube it's not very engaging. He's okay, but I think even though Chris isn't like the most charismatic person, he does YouTube better than Tekken Sports, right? Like, he has a better approach, Tekken Sports, I've watched a couple of his episodes. Every episode feels the same,
Maybe because it's so information based, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah, maybe.
I enjoy listening to other resellers' podcasts like Trash to Cash, or I do the reseller leftovers because it's fun. There's a lot of jokes.
Yeah, like Carrie from American Arbitrage. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like he's exactly. Very charismatic and like, you know what I mean? But I will say, I mean, like, again, I have no problem with Tekken Sports. He's a great reseller, But I think the YouTube is lacking, right?
Well, it's just information. I think at the end of the day, that's what it is.
Chris is doing like $100,000 a week, and that's
what we know of.
That's what we know of.
Because I mean, look at his shoes things. He was doing a couple $1 million in just shoes before he got kicked off of eBay. Remember? And that was what we didn't even know about that. So he's probably doing other things that we don't even know, right? Like, which I have no issues with. Like, I'm not gonna knock him for it. You know,
Yeah.
make that
I mean,
money.
yeah. I mean, believe me, I'm sure all of us wish we could make that much within a week.
Yeah, 100,000 a week. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
life would be different.
Yeah.
Life would be a different $100,000 a week.
Oh
absolutely.
yeah. Yeah.
Could we do it? We absolutely could.
Mhm.
You do need a team to
Yeah,
make $100,000 a week. You
There's a
can't
lot
do
of
it
that.
alone.
and I will say, you know, I'm not gonna be that guy that like says, oh, just because he's in that area. But being California has a little bit better outlet than some other places, right? Like, say, you know, if you lived in like Connecticut, you would never have the output like he does in California, right? So
Well,
location
all
does
the
have a little bit to do with it, right? So, but
Yeah.
you know, he did it every day. You know, he was grabbing loads and loads and loads and reselling. So I give him all the props in the world. That guy, you know, he built that business from nothing. 10K from the Bay.
Yeah. I mean, I will say we're lucky to live close to, just living in the Baltimore area where there's a lot more going on. I feel like. I mean, I told
Yeah,
my wife we want to move away at some point, and I said, just out of this area. And I said, as long as I'm within like an hour of like a flea market or a yard sale type area, that great, that's as good as this one, because, and I'm not saying it's the best out there, but am able to consistently find stuff week in, week out almost.
yeah. I mean, I have a different view, to be honest with you, because I think it's kind of lacking, to be honest with you. Like when it comes to actual flea markets, you know, the flea markets we do have,
Right
you know, they leave a lot to be desired. You know what I mean? So I mean, are they good? Yes. Could they be better? Absolutely. But there's
now.
so
Oh
many
yeah.
other places, you know, like we have terrible Goodwill bins, right? We have like the worst I've
We,
ever seen.
do we even have one? I didn't think we had one
We
anymore.
do, but what they
We
do,
do.
they pick all the good stuff out and sell it online.
Hmm.
So no, we
It's
don't
the worst
technically.
bin store you'll ever go to.
Yeah, James will
Right?
tell you he knows
It's
better
bad.
than all of us.
It
Really?
used to be really good. They used
I,
to have nothing but Gaylord boxes, and people go in there. They'd bring lunch and just dig through boxes all day long. It is so skimpy. It's you're lucky to have 6 people in line. They'll go in there. Everybody takes a little time, goes through a couple little bins they got in the middle of the floor, and everything else is priced around it. There's a
mm,
bin of books, a couple bin of clothes. There might be like 20 pieces of clothes in one little blue bin, and there might be 10 of those. And then there's one bin of like all DVDs,
I was
and then
about to
there's
say, and here's how you know it's bad. When you go in there and look at the bin of DVDs, all the DVDs are standing up on the side where you can see the side of the DVD so you can read them. So that just tells me that somebody's already went through them and looked at them and stood them all up on their side. Stood them up on
mm.
their side so they can all see them where they've already been picked through.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
we
how you
had two
know that
bins.
that is not good at all.
We we used to have two bin stores here. One out in
Yeah.
Benji's.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. I just didn't think we had any more once the one closed.
Yeah,
So that's why I thought that. But I mean, I do so good like just picking at the flea market and stuff. But we have been lacking the amount of flea markets compared to what we used to, because
Yeah,
within the
because
past
I've seen episodes of like
two
Chris
episodes.
from Daily Refinement go to the flea market and buy loads, like literal like truckloads full of stuff.
Yeah.
We don't have that here. Like we've been, me and James
Yeah.
especially, we've been to other flea markets where it, you can barely find a truckload full of stuff between 3 flea markets, right?
Hmm.
So I mean,
Yeah. It
California is
depends
just
on
a
like
bigger state. You know what I mean? They just have a larger output of merchandise than
it
we have.
depends. The dealers there, and there's so many factors. There's a reason why you even see a lot of resellers moving to Florida right now, because it's a retirement state.
Yeah,
So a lot
but
of
that's
people,
even going to run dry eventually too. But I mean, look at
it's not.
Pixel Game Squad. I don't. James will tell you about Pixel Game Squad, right? they find all kind of stuff. Video games galore. You got to think it's a 40 million person state, so the amount of merchandise there is just unbelievable.
Okay.
Compared to, we have what? I think Baltimore has 350,000 people maybe tops. So
Yeah.
know,
I'm sorry to do this, but my phone's like at 10%. I charged it before this. I don't know why it just
Well,
drained.
I say we'll come to the close.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to close then.
So let's tell us where we can find you at, and then
Well,
Kenny.
we'll start with Kenny.
No, I was gonna say, well, I'll go first. My name's Kenny. You can find me at youtube.com/DelmarvaDeals, or you can find me on ebay.com/KWM Smushy. That's KWM SMUSHY. I give good deals. Been a reseller for a long time, and while I'm at it, while you're at it, go over and see James at youtube.com/junkjaw. Give him a like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Right?
Yeah. I'm Ray. You can find me at Triple R Collections on YouTube, on Instagram, on eBay, Macari, Poshmark, all by Triple R Collections. So that's about it. If you want to see any cool content on Instagram, I'm want to get back into putting out content soon, so check me out. And or if you want to find some cool, unique items, check out my stores. But how about you, Jay?
You can find me at the Flea Market TV on eBay. That's it. I haven't started a YouTube channel, but come in here and please subscribe, follow, like, leave a comment. You got a question, drop that down there. We'll get back to you.
Yep.
That's it.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Kenny.
No,
I
thanks for
appreciate
having me,
bro.
fellas. Thanks for having me anytime.
Thank you.
Yep.
So, thank you guys for coming all the way to the end. And until next time.
See ya.
Bye.